Hello guys, Dimitris here from Stigmatized Productions. I'm very excited to announce the release of our brand new drum instrument, Iron Drummer. Iron Drummer is a contact player instrument. This means that you must have Contact 801 or newer, or the free contact player installed on your system in order to use this instrument. Iron Drummer is an acoustic drum instrument. Here, you get two professional drum kits, a top-of-the-line studio sound with focus on hyper-realism, full mixing control with high-quality effects, full routing options, and a huge selection of MIDI grooves covering at the highest quality a variety of popular music genres. Probably the most complete MIDI groove library ever created. You get everything you need to create the perfect drum tracks, covering a wide range of pop, rock, fusion, up to metal productions. Two great sounding drum kits were recorded, a Pearl Reference Maple kit and the Mapex Saturn V Maple Walnut kit, and four great snares, Pearl Masters, Pearl Free Floater, this is recorded in two different tunings, Tama Star Classic and Mapex Saturn V. The recording and sampling process were the deepest possible. Every drum piece was recorded with both left and right hand, up to 21 velocity layers, with multiple round robins and a ton of articulations. A huge array of the finest cymbals were also recorded following the exact same procedure. Iron Drummer offers the same deep functionality and control with our metal powerhouse Fotis Bernardo drums, but here we have a different approach on sound and music orientation. The tuning is way different, and especially for snares, they are high-tuned, something that makes Iron Drummer more suitable for rock, pop and fusion music styles, while Fotis Bernardo drums was designed mostly for metal. Iron Drummer's interface has two main sections where you can navigate and control the various parameters of the instrument. You can navigate among these sections by clicking on the tabs at the bottom of the instrument's performance view. The different sections and their uses are as follows. Grooves tab. On this page, you will find a browser of a huge number of genre-separate MIDI grooves with variations, fills, cymbal swells, and finale performances that can be dragged to your host for immediate song creation. There are also some useful tools to manipulate the MIDI files according to your taste. Main tab. Here we have access to three different pages: Kit, Mixer, Settings, using the three corresponding buttons on the upper area of the instrument. Settings page. This page has options for technical kit settings such as kit mapping and velocity parameters. Kit page. You can select each drum on this page to adjust tuning, velocity, increase or decrease dynamics and ADSR envelopes for those drums. There is also a section where you can view and load all the different drums available, as well as load and unload any separate kit piece. In addition, you will find a section for electronic kit users where you can deeply adjust the sensitivity and behavior of the hi-hat. Mixer page. This page has a full-blown audio mixer, including level faders, panning, solo, mute, send levels, and channel routing to DAW. This is also where all effect settings are edited. There is also a secondary mic mixer, where you can select every different drum piece and have full access to all different mics that were used to record this library. Here you have full control of level faders, panning, solo, mute and channel routing. You can route any mic signal anywhere inside the instrument to the main mixer or directly out to your DAW. Groove Browser. The Groove Browser is organized based on different music genres represented in the first column. Every genre has its styles represented in the second column, and every style has its grooves, organized in most of the cases by the leading hand called power hand in the third column. In the fourth column, you will find a huge amount of fills, cymbal swells, finales, and flams. Double-clicking on any of the represented MIDI files will load the groove and you are ready to edit or drag and drop it to your DAW. You have access to 4,900 plus professional-made grooves covering any possible variation at an unmatched level of realism. Playback controls. Here you can see the loaded groove, fill or variation, and you can start or stop playback by pressing the button on the left area. Navigate to the previous or next MIDI file using the next and previous buttons located at the right area. Drag and drop the selected groove direct to your DAW by left-clicking on the name and drag. Playback controls are available in all pages of Iron Drummer, so you can play back and drag and drop from any page. Groove Editor. The tightness knob changes the feel of groove in the beat. The default value is the original played beat unchanged. When turned all the way to the right, the beat is completely quantized. As the knob is turned to the left, the beat gets more and more loose until it sounds very sloppy when turned all the way to the left. In some music styles, it's preferred to have a more loose feel than a perfectly aligned performance, so every position of this knob should be useful for different situations. The grid selector allows you to select different quantization timings for the tightness and swing knobs. For example, selecting 1/8 will push the grooves towards or away from the 8th notes of the beat when using the tightness knob. The swing knob adjusts the amount of swing in the beat. When the knob is all the way to the right, the swing is at maximum level. Usually the best results are around the middle position, 50% of the knob. Default value here is all the way to the left, 0%, where no swing is applied. Different time signature affect the swing in different ways, so it's often best just to try the swing knob to see how it sounds with the selected groove. In our experience, you must use a straight beat without many complexities in order to avoid strange results. After that, check the timing of the hi-hat and use the grid selector accordingly. For example, if the hi-hat plays 8ths, set the grid to 8ths and swing knob to about 50% for best and smooth results. The velocity knob changes the range of the velocities in the grooves. At the center position, the groove plays with the same velocities that were recorded with it. As the knob is turned to the right, the range is compressed to the high range so that all velocity values increase until they are all at maximum when the knob is all the way to the right. Similarly, when the knob is turned to the left, the velocities are compressed to the low range until all velocities are the lowest when turning the knob all the way to the left. playback speed section buttons allow you to immediately change the tempo of the groove or fill to be half the speed or double the speed of the originals. This can be useful when a song is recorded at a high BPM tempo, but the feel of the song is actually half of that speed, or the opposite. Settings page. In the settings page, we can adjust general technical parameters of a kit, such as the MIDI note mapping. We can change or create drum maps and edit the general velocity behavior of the kit. The velocity editor allows you to fine-tune the way Iron Drummer responds to MIDI input. In the curve section, you can select a curve for incoming MIDI note velocities. The default is the linear curve, but many input devices have different levels of sensitivity, making the X plus or the X minus curve more suitable. You can also select a constant fixed velocity represented by a horizontal line. Using the range controls, you can change the lowest and highest velocity values. This is useful for preventing the quietest and/or the loudest sounds from playing, and instead be limited to the specified minimum and maximum. Different MIDI input devices, such as MIDI keyboards and electronic drum kits, will also need their own velocity setting adjustments to match your playing style. MIDI editor. The MIDI editor area contains all the controls for changing the mapping layout of the kits. Each articulation can be assigned to one or more MIDI notes, allowing for your own customized mapping. This is very useful for adjusting the mapping to the way that suits you best when playing the drums with a MIDI keyboard, or for adjusting the mapping to a custom electronic drum setup. You can assign MIDI notes manually by entering or selecting the note in the note selector. Alternatively, you can press the MIDI select button to assign notes using your MIDI keyboard. Select the instrument and the articulation in the drop-down menus. Click on the Apply button next to the Confirm Changes label. The changes will be applied. Pressing the Cancel button will cancel the changes. All custom MIDI mappings can be saved and loaded from the Mapping preset menu. Here, you can use the drop-down menu to select a particular drum map. You can navigate to previous or next drum map using the corresponding buttons, save a new preset pressing the diskette button, or delete an existing preset pressing the button on the right. We have to mention that you can delete only the user presets and not the factory presets. Notice that when you load the factory preset, the delete icon is grayed out, so you cannot use it. Iron Drummer comes with a big selection of mapping presets that are set up to work with popular software and electronic drum setups. Practically, you will find here any drum map of almost any major drumming software. These mappings can be selected from the drop-down menu in the drum mapping area. If you want to make changes to these mappings, you can always do so and save the mapping preset under a different name. Kit page. Here you can select and audition every drum piece, edit the pitch, velocity and ADSR parameters independent for each drum, and edit the sensitivity and behavior of the hi-hat CC of your electronic kit. Pressing on any of the drum pieces of the kit, you will hear its sound and you will have access to the independent controls on the left side. So here you can press the purge button to load or unload the selected drum piece. Pressing the mapping button, you can see all the available MIDI notes for any different drum piece. Use the Tune knob to change the pitch of the drum. Use the velocity knob to increase or decrease the velocity of the selected drum. There are situations where a drum pad is very sensitive or the opposite, so this control solves the problem. Press Velocity Monitor in order to have a visual representation of the velocity of the incoming MIDI signal and use the velocity knob to edit. With the velocity range fader, you can edit the intensity that is applied to the volume while we decrease the velocity. In maximum settings, you will not hear any difference. While going towards minimum values of the fader, you will hear the quieter sounds such as ghost notes, etc. Finally, you can use the ADSR controls to edit attack, hold and decay of the drum piece. Drum loader. Selecting any different kit piece, you can see in the drum loader area the available drum pieces, so you can load any of them by simply pressing on it. You can also audition every piece with its articulations using the buttons below any of them. E-Kit Hi-Hat CC. In the E-Kit section, you can control and edit the pedal sensitivity of the hi-hat of your electronic drum kit. Press the Enable button to let the signal from your hi-hat pedal pass through the application. Moving your pedal, you will see the signal as a PFL meter. When you have full pressed your pedal, the value will be 127, and fully open, the value will be 0. In some cases, some pedals are having opposite polarity, so you will see the opposite results in the PFL and the value. In this case, you will have to use the Invert CC button to match the polarity of your pedal and everything will be okay. Pedal sensitivity. Pressing the Edit button, you have access to a mixer-like control of the openness of your hi-hat. Here you can have access and edit the values of the pedal that triggers every different articulation, from closed up to fully opening. Mixer page. Iron Drummer has two mixers, the main mixer and the mic mixer, and you can select each of them using the drop-down menu Mixer Selector. In the main mixer, you have everything you will need for a whole production, 16 channels with volume faders, solo, mute, pan, and the reverb sent on any of them. Pressing on the button at the bottom of every channel, you select it and you have independent effects for each channel. Mixing your drum kit inside Iron Drummer is more than enough to achieve perfect results. But additionally, you can also route any track to your DAW, sequential or independent, for further mixing capabilities and using the effects that you personally prefer. You can use the Routings drop-down menu to select one of the different routings that suits better to your mixing preferences. You can make your sound mono or stereo using the width knob on the master channel. You can also change the sound perspective to drummers or audience using the LR button at the bottom of the master channel. Effects. We enable or disable any effect using the on-off button located at the upper left corner of the effect. Iron EQ can control 6 bands: a low cut filter, a low semi-parametric band, a low mid-parametric band, a high mid-parametric, a high semi-parametric, and a high cut filter. Use the Transient Designer to control the attack and the sustain of a drum. Use the Iron Comb to tighten your sound. Here you can control the input, attack, release and compression to achieve the desired results. Use the saturation knob to spice up your sound. Use the character knob to apply different character and the mix knob to make the compressor act as an insert compressor, turning the knob fully right, or as parallel compressor, lowering the value of the mix knob until find your sweet spot. Press the limiter button on the bottom of the master track to enable or disable the master limiter. Access its controls by pressing on Edit at the left side of the limiter button. Bring signal to iron reverb using the send faders located at the upper section of any mixer channel. You can control early and late reflections using the ER size and LR size knobs, and with the high cut knob you can tame the higher frequencies. Use the output fader to control the overall volume of the reverb. You can also solo and mute the reverb sound using the corresponding buttons for different scenarios. In the right section of the effect, you will see the available IRs, rooms. Use the drop-down menu or the next and previous buttons to load another IR. Mic Mixer. Mic Mixer is the core of the ultimate control and balance. Here you can control all the different mics that were used to record this library and achieve great results. Iron Drummer Mic Mixer consists of two main sections. The drum selector. Here you can use the scroll bar at the bottom and see all the different kinds of drum pieces that are available. Pressing on any of them, you select it and have access to its microphones represented as mixer tracks on the mic mixer. The mic section. Here we have a fully featured mixer representing the different mics as channels, where you can control volume, pan, solo, mute, routings, global volume and global solo mute of the selected drum piece. Select any drum piece in the drum selector. Adjust its mic channels, volume, pan, solo, mute, etc. to your taste until you achieve a great balance. You can load your favorite one-shot samples on kick and snare by drag and drop on the corresponding area. Additionally, there is a global volume fader for any kit piece that can increase or decrease the overall volume of the selected drum without changing the relationship and the balance between mics. I would like to explain how useful is the global volume fader of any selected drum piece. Let's say, for example, that you achieved a great balance in the snare mics and you listen to the full mix with all the other instruments and you feel that everything is almost perfect, but you need to decrease or increase a tiny bit the overall snare volume in order to be 100% satisfied. But you don't want, and definitely you must not, change the mic balance that you achieved earlier. Without having available the global snare fader, you would have to go and decrease this tiny bit all the snare mics: snare top, snare bottom, snare overhead, snare room, snare bleed, snare comp, in order to achieve the result. Having the global snare fader in your arsenal, this procedure is just a mouse click, because increasing or decreasing moves accordingly all the mic faders without losing any balance. Finally, you can use the drop-down menus at the bottom of the mic channels to route the corresponding mic anywhere inside Iron Drummer to the main mixer or directly out to your DAW. Iron Drummer makes all these stunning features available for you so you can control 100% your drum kit and create great and professional results. Thanks for watching. Have a nice drumming.